Let's give a round of applause to our good brother Karaji. I'm not sure if everyone in the room is familiar with the transatlantic slave trade, but we should be. Karaji was the last dude off the boat. So he has all of the records, so if you ever need. But anyway, in all seriousness, how's everyone doing? Right. All right, divine and supreme, I want to greet everyone with civilized greeting, peace, hotep, shalom, whatever greeting you go by, whatever school or thought that you're from, I want to greet you to make you feel welcome and feel comfortable. All right. So as I always do, can everyone just kind of take a look around the room, because I'm not definitely going to be long, find a very unfamiliar face. I need everyone to stand up and greet at least 2 people. Everyone stand up out of your comfort zone. Come on. Greet at least 2 people. Can we do that? Give them a hug, give them some dap. Now Ernie, this is the time for us to come set that right. Alright, so we're going to try to do this way. I'm going to try to turn this thing around. Yeah, it just broke, man. Like, how did that happen, man? Nah, you don't have to hold it, man. I was just going to set it up on this thing right here, bro.
Oh, okay.
For real, I don't want to put you to work like that. You can't listen to the lecture. You going to listen to the lecture. Oh, peace to all the Sirius Mindz family. Really appreciate y'all. This is just kind of off the cuff. I ain't talked to Quan in a minute. I've been on this Black History Mobile Museum tour, so today we're going to be talking about the unsung heroes and sheroes of Black history. She just all up in it. You okay? Dang. All right.
He's going to go back.
So I'm just going to touch on some things just to kind of lay a base. When Kalaji comes back up, when our good brother Ron Cable Mike Durudi comes back up, who's going to end this evening off? Bob, are you good? All right, dude, you should have came up, got your praise, bro, because we was talking about your artwork and the space. Let's give Bob a round of applause again. All right. All right. Okay. So I wanted to dive into a few things. I did not want to be long, but I just kind of like want to lay a base so we can begin to at least ignite the fuse. Now listen, if this is some things, I'm about to go over some things, if this is some things that you already know, all right, it's your duty and responsibility to pass it on to 3 people that you know don't know, all right? So if we're sitting here getting bored with the talk, we're like, okay, I got that, check, got that. Take it in, use it as a refresher course, and then teach 3 other people. That's our duty and our responsibility. All right. Presently, I'm on tour with the Black History 101 Mobile Museum. The curator is Dr. Khalid El Hakim. He's been collecting for 30 years, and I've been with him 16 of those years traveling around the country to kind of educate our people about who we are. A lot of places I go to, especially during this month, Black History Month, they don't realize that they're Black, even in 2020. Some people just found out that they were Black when the Black Panther movie came out. No, I'm serious. The college campus was a place. The college campus was a place that it bred Black, strong, uncompromising revolutionaries. Am I correct? And the church was like that once upon a time as well. The church served as a safe haven for us at least to get some rest, some food, and a good word. But I know and understand the history of the revolutionary struggle in America, and I know that you know the history, and we also got to keep in mind that our enemy knows the history. All right, and they're constantly at work, 365 days a year, night and day, in shifts. All right, so we're going to dive into some things, and then we're going to piece some things apart. When someone sings the praise of the same individuals during Black History Month, and we're going to take a taste test right now. Let's name 5 of those individuals that get mentioned every year and cram down our throats. Martin Luther King, Did somebody say Malcolm? Man, who said Malcolm X? You're out of your mind. They don't mention Malcolm X. Hell no, we don't. They don't do that. Who else got Rosa Parks? Pardon me? Harriet Tubman. They just started mentioning Harriet Tubman in a positive light because I think they put her on the $20 bill that the film came out. So that's the Harriet Tubman remix. All right. Huh? Carver, yeah, the Obamas now, they mentioned, they added that. They've added some other Negroes. Let's name a few. Let's just go through the Negro list. Excuse me? No, we ain't talking about that. No, you're not going there. Negroes. Don't try to like we don't know the new Negroes. Come on, man. Charles Barkley's a new Negro. Am I right or wrong? Come on, help me out now. I'm going to skip over this part of my lecture. We just going to move on. Because we need to come to at least some kind of group cohesiveness on who the new Negroes are. Maybe that needs to be the new lecture. The new Negroes in 2020. So we can just kind of bring y'all up to speed on Negro-ness. All right? Thank you. But now we're talking about heroes, which is a word that Dave taken from Heru. All right? So who are the new heroes and the Sheroes? All right? Now that's only part of the title. A lot of times it's hard for us even in 2020 to wrestle with the idea of being black. Now I've heard a lot of stuff on and offline about this whole idea of not being black. If you don't want to be that particular individual in a long line of other individuals that's connected to the creator, him or herself, from the dark matter of the universe, then you go be somebody else then. I'll claim it. All right? And then we'll just kind of move on from it. We want to be everything else than what we truly are. All right? Which is truly sad. Kalaji just asked a few minutes ago for the Africans to clap their hands, and it's like, okay, maybe we haven't wrapped up our minds around that particular concept. But hopefully after this talk today, we can start to develop this whole idea, this concept of being centered again. You still have to put that book on the table? We need to be centered, grounded into who we are as a people. All right? So I was in Scottsdale, Arizona, and was talking to a couple of individuals, and they were talking about Malcolm. I kept calling the brother. I said, well, we were talking about the whole idea of black and African. And once upon a time, we didn't have to use those terms because we were the only ones here. So we didn't have to identify ourselves with that. And he reminded me that Malcolm had said that the whole idea of the German Shepherd, I think Dr. Khalid Muhammad came back and supported that particular, the idea of that particular concept. The idea of the German Shepherd coming from Germany. But regardless of where the German Shepherd is on the planet, it's still a German Shepherd. Am I right or wrong? The French Poodle is still a French Poodle, regardless whether they're taken from France or been put in other places. But what about us as a people, coming from the continent, all right, being in different places, but it seems like we take on these particular titles and names and we discard the whole idea of our roots. So let's dive into the whole idea of not only history, but herstory. All right, and I tend to tell audience our story needs to be told to us by us. All right? Our story needs to be told to us by us. So I'm going to run through real quick. I think I set up about maybe 40 different slides to kind of get this point across in the most simplistic way that I possibly can. All right? Because a lot of times we sit back, the lecturer may go into this deep kind of science about things and might want to travel to a couple of planets and a couple of different galaxies and never come back home and we don't get it. All right? We need to keep it very simplistic today because we want to end all the excuses. And we come up with a lot of excuses on why we're not doing the job that we're supposed to. Now, I'm not saying take this information and take it to work and you're talking over the Xerox machine or the water cooler and get fired because somebody's, ear hustling. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you are at Wally World or at Whole Foods or whatever, or Target or relatives at the family reunion, all right? Bring up the discussion, have the discussion, all right? Meaningful dialogue. So let me just run through a few of these things. There shall be no other God for me before me. I am God having a human experience called Griff. I stand on it and I'll die on it, all right? We need to make these kinds of convictions, all right, to establish a reference point. the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, said we're direct descendants from God himself. All right. Other scholars have said it, and other researchers and scholars have said it in a different way. All right. But it's the basic same concept. All right. The original ancestor is God, him, and herself. All right. That's the original ancestor. All right. I'm not going to go over a lot of these particular slides because they're very bothersome when trying to understand it. And a lot of times we spend too much time worried about what these people are trying to do to us, as opposed to devoting that energy and that time and being who we're supposed to be. All right. So we understand the Rockefellers and the Trilateral Commission and all these other people on how they position themselves. They've manufactured these kinds of people to derail the train, so to speak. So you're always going to have bootlicking Negroes and coons and sellouts. That's just part of the fabric of what we have to deal with. They're in this audience right now. I'm not asking them to raise their hand, but they're here. Trust me, they're here. You understand what I'm saying? And we're, especially online, we're always going to have these kind of Negroes. I want to give a shout out to Snoop Dogg. Thank you very much, you and T.I., for standing up and being, and finally lending some voice to what they've silenced. And they've actually silenced the black rage. Because now we have to go back through the dictionary and find the proper words in order to vent our frustration at the Gayle Kings of the world and some of these other Negroes. I mentioned Charles Barkley earlier because it's fresh on my mind. Did you hear what this Negro said, though? You heard what he said? It's like ridiculous. He said we should remember Kobe as the molester and the rapist that he is. This is Charles Negro Barkley. I was like, wow, bro. Okay. And then Susan Rice, did you hear that madness? She actually got whatever army she claimed to have was going to come after Snoop Dogg. I'm like, wow, you got a whole entire army? Well, sis, if you got an army, then how come you're not going after the sex traffickers, man? These people that are abusing black people, how come you don't go after the cops that shoot us down every weekend? If you got an army that's that tough, just letting Snoop Dogg know that you won't win. Wow, I sat back, I'm like, I wonder what kind of army this sister got. And then as you know, black people start pulling up information on her and putting her online, and you see who she's connected with. We'll talk about that at another lecture. Coding is always going to be around. All right, we can spend hours and hours talking about this, that manufactured this, or we can dive back into what our ancestors left us. All right, pull the books back off the shelf because they're collecting dust, and we need to stand on the shoulders of those that came before us. Stand on the shoulders of the ancestors and kneel at the feet of the elders that still walk among us. All right. So just this body of work right here. How many people actually have a physical library at home? That's a beautiful thing. Let's hold on to those books that we can kind of touch, feel, and turn the pages to. Of course, you might want to get the digital books also because they are out there. All right. But we need to hold on to this and pass this information on. There's a saying from the Lakota tribe that the paper has become the Lakota tribe's enemy. And the reason why is because we have rituals, all right, that we do according to whatever season is, whether you follow the moon cycle, sun, whatever, or just the universe in and of itself, or just the life cycle. The Lakota tribe says they put the rituals and wrote the rituals down on paper. Put the ritual on the paper and put it in a book and then put it on the shelf and forgot the ritual. And then when someone robbed them and made it illegal for them to speak their language, the book became obsolete, thus losing the ritual. We need to read the books, take the information from the books, make it applicable to these young people's lives. You follow what I'm saying? And that's a real dynamic. That's the only way that we're going to be able to celebrate the heroes and sheroes. We have to know who they are. And then knowing who they are, we have to become them. All right? So that we can go back and spend hours and hours on why they don't teach this on the elementary school level. Instead of coming together to put together an independent school where we can teach this. Are you following what I'm saying? But we keep relying on our open enemy to teach something that they're never going to teach. They're never going to tell you about their killers. All right, you understand what I'm saying? Then we're going to still turn around and celebrate Memorial Day. and a day that memorializes their killers. But our children are being murdered every day on a level that, unbeknownst to us, in the public educational system. All right? Being murdered every day. All right, so we need to understand the physical killers, but the teachers that are in the schools each and every day killing us. A black person broke my heart, so I'm going to date someone from the other race of the people that broke my people. That is twisted. There needs to be some things that we need to study to put in place culturally that will counteract that automatically. All right? So we need to understand that particular dynamic. All right? We can talk about this idea of genocide. We can talk about the Planned Parenthood. We can go through Henry Berry saying the fact that they extinguish any amount of light that can spark any intelligence that lies in the black man, reducing us down to animals. We can spend hours talking about Margaret Sanger, and we can go over the whole idea of the race construct with the origins of racial categories. We can talk about all of these things, but that's still not going to advance us one iota if we don't begin to study the self and who we are, who we were, who we are, and the potential of who we could be. All right? Because I think the bottom line to all this is to be free. Am I right or wrong? In an independent land that we can call our own. So I think that's the ultimate goal. All right? Even so much, we're going over the last, 100 years of history to pull out those Sheroes and heroes that have advanced us. I can sit here and talk about Yasantiwa. We can sit here and talk about Winnie Mandela and Annie Mary Douglas and all the other people that we might not know about. But I say that's something that we should all have been doing in the home. Right or wrong? So I just said to myself, well, what kind of talk do I want to give to the essence? Well, since I'm the first one to speak, let me kind of pave the way for what I believe and know and understand that Kalonji Babaruti is going to bring. This is happening. So let's bring ourselves up to date on some things. This is happening right now. All right? So when we go into and rely on the people to educate our people about who we are, what they're incapable of doing. All right? You're talking about the children of the same people that destroyed us and got us in this condition and now going to teach us about ourselves. All right? So when they celebrate Black History Month, this is how they celebrate. White teacher, white children with a dog leash around a young sister right here. All right? So this is their idea of celebrating Black History Month. Have you ever been told something for the first time about your ancient past, but although it's the first time you're hearing it, you already intuitively know the information. Therefore, the presented information is merely a confirmation. And this is what I alluded to earlier. It is our ancestors that are waking us up from within. All right? So this whole idea of knowing and understanding that we are our ancestors. All right? I had this conversation, and I was telling my wife that I had put this in a lecture. I just couldn't remember which lecture that I put this in. This whole idea of having to constantly remind people that we had spiritual concepts prior to this whole idea of someone coming up with this concept called religion, organizing it and putting it in categories. All right. So this whole idea, they say that African magic is evil, and you've heard that. Just the whole idea of the voodoo, which is some deep spirituality based on how we organize things. But every time you hear voodoo, you think evil. You think dolls, they sticking pins in, and black magic and all this other kind of stuff. But at the same time, these are the same people that said that about our African spiritual concepts are the same ones drinking the blood and eating the body of Christ every Sunday. All right? So we have to understand the concept. See, what they did was, this is the theft of African consciousness. So they take and steal our sacred signs and symbols and rituals. All right? And because they want us to stay far away from it, they put the black thing on it. They put the evil thing on it. They put the demonic thing on it, while they take it and they use it in secret, in their secret societies. And that's very real dynamic. And you can see it being played out in the movies that are coming out. They'll take the names and the energy, the frequency and the vibration of our deities and our gods, but yet trash the original ones, the real ones, the ones that we should be pulling on, all right? The ones that we should be studying, all right? Each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. All right, if we don't know, that was Francis Fanon, but if we don't know who we are, then we are whoever somebody else says we are. All right, Dr. Amos Wilson. Now be mindful of those teachers who insist on referring to themselves and their students as African Americans. They are generally not comfortable with being African and will defend African American vehemently, claiming that they are both, and have never studied Africa, never wanted to be African. All right? And I think it was Dr. Francis Cress Wilson and Nearly Fuller Jr. that said these same individuals, they don't want to and don't have a plan to destroy racism, white supremacy, to set justice on the earth. They're trying to find a comfortable place in it. All right? While at the same time, we know what we're facing with. We have to educate our children to maneuver around and through it, to establish justice. And this is very real. All right? Since black African people throughout the world joining forces to fight the black African sovereignty and to build the black African world order. All right, there's knowledge of self that's going to do that, and that's real. So I just want to say, as I move forward for the next probably 30 minutes, I'm responsible for what I say. I'm not responsible for what you understand. I'm only responsible for what I say. All right, how you process it, depending upon where you are, what school of thought that you're from, that's entirely up to you. But we can begin to understand and then develop an understanding and then an overstanding. I talked about this idea of insight, which will help us, we're pulling from the hindsight, which will help us develop foresight. And we have to have foresight in order to move forward, because information, collecting information is cool, I guess. But if you don't make the knowledge applicable and applied knowledge, then what good is having all the information if you're not going to apply it? So let me run through some of these things real quick. All right? Intelligence, not because you think you know everything without questioning, but rather because you question everything that you think that you know. All right? We have to question everything that we even think that we know. All right? There's the sacred energy guiding you. This is why lately you've been distancing yourself from who and what no longer serves and or lowers your vibrations. Instead, you've now become attracting and manifesting who and what does serve you, elevate you, nourish you, and inspire you to vibrate on a higher level. All right? Everything that doesn't serve your best and your higher good, you have to leave it alone. Plain and simple. I'm not going to mince any words tonight or today. We have to be able to grasp this concept and move forward with it. So if it's KK, Twan, Man, Peanut, and the rest of them that you just got to let go, then let them go. You understand what I'm saying? The girlfriend that still goes to church, still eat pork, yeah, still date white men, you might just say, okay, well, that's my plan to let that go for a minute. All right, because you're moving into a deeper and higher consciousness. There's a shift happening in the world's people are waking up from the spell. Do not be distracted by negative agendas, false news, low frequency foods, low frequency entertainment, nor by any of the demons busy at work, because they are at work. All right, transformation is underway regardless within you. Right now, as we speak, as you read this, it is real. Trust it. Honor it, nourish it, cultivate it, protect it. The shift is happening right now and you're part of it. All right? Some of us may not want to admit it, but we feel it happening in us. We don't know how to express ourselves to deal with it. It could be a parent. It could be a relative that's helping you, causing you to make this shift to understand things on a deeper level. They'll teach us about these inventors, but not these inventors. I often talk about Jack Johnson, who was a heavyweight champion of the world. All right, and we know him as such, but that's not what they teach us about Jack Johnson and Griff. They teach us that about Jack Johnson, but not the fact that he was an inventor. And he invented this thing called the wrench. Sent out for the patent and got it back. When he received it back, these devils called it a monkey wrench. This is how demonic these people are. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's a very real dynamic. All right? Going through is critical, because I'm not sure, is there ever a time in anyone's history of celebrating themselves that we have to look at ourselves through the lens of our open enemy? So that every weekend in February is occupied by something that the same people that put us in this situation are celebrating. Everything that's about them though. Because the first weekend in February was the what? It was the Grammys? No. Hold on. It wasn't the Grammys. What was before? What was before the Grammys? The first weekend was the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, then the Grammys, then Oscars.
American Music Award.
Okay, there's another one. Then we can add that one to it. And then the what was the last one? It was the Oscars and then All-Star Weekend. Because I believe Kawhi Leonard got the Kobe Bryant Award. Right. So every weekend is occupied. So when do we get a chance to get together? Even if we want to get together and finger pop, when do we ever get a chance to do that? All right? But Ishaka Musa Barasango gave us African people and European holidays, which is a mental genocide, to remind us. But the task is today is to take the book off the shelf and make it applicable to our lives. Black people on the 4th of July, you popping firecrackers and you're doing all other kinds of stuff. Dressing up in the American flag. Black people on St. Patrick's Day, you wear more damn green than a turtle or a Geico. You understand what I'm saying? But that's real. But you show up, all right? Don't know nothing about the Irish people. Don't even realize and understand that the original Irishman was the Twa. Because they stole that from us. You understand what I'm saying? Thanksgiving, you get more turkey legs and cranberry sauce than the law allowed. But when it comes time to Black History Month and Kwanzaa, it's a no-show. The PTA meeting, no-show. Stop allowing your own insecurities to color the way you interpret someone else's intentions. All right, that's you, that's your filter. That's something that you have to figure out. All right, let's move forward. So Dr. Francis Cress Wilson gave us a working fundamental definition of racism and white supremacy, which is as follows. It is a local and global power system and dynamic, structured and maintained by persons who classify themselves as white, whether consciously or subconsciously determined, which consists of patterns of perception, logic, symbol formation, thought, speech, action, and emotional responses conducted simultaneously in all areas of people activity. Now, I'm sure you've heard this definition before, but what I want you to do right now is do something different. No one understands this, that we're being attacked on a daily and consistent basis, and these are the areas which they're launching. How you doing, brother? This is the area in which they're launching their attacks. Whether covertly or overtly, nonetheless, we're being attacked on the economic front, on the educational front, especially entertainment, on the labor front, law, politics, religion, sex, and war for the ultimate purpose of white genetic survival and to prevent white genetic annihilation. All right? Neely Fuller came along with the book, The Code. All right? Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad on the Public Enemy song. Hey, there you go, son. I can't remember. Neither of his bass heads. He says, have you forgotten that once we were brought here, we were robbed of our names, robbed of our language. We lost our religion, our culture, our God, and many of us, by the way we act, we even lost our minds. And that's very real. And isn't it kind of amazing, Baruti, that we don't even hear these firebrand revolutionaries no more even mention Khaled's name? You understand what I'm saying? They rarely mention the man's name. All right? The quicker we come to grips and to terms with what's actually happening and has happened to us is the reason why we have to know and understand and study history. I think the better off we'll be. All right? History is a lie, especially if it's told about us through the lens of someone else. All right? For example, it's very subtle and it happens all the time. Well, the slaves came over on the slave ships. No, slaves didn't come over. So, just with the sleight of the tongue, all right? These young people may get that kind of twisted. No, engineers were brought over. Scientists were brought over. Healers were brought over. Gods and goddesses were brought over and then made slaves through a system and a process. All right, and we need to understand that. Religion is a control system. Money is a hoax. Debt is fiction. Media, multi-ethnic destruction in America, or maniac European devils in action is manipulation. Government is a corporation. The system is a lie, but it works. There's no way that you as a fly or mosquito are going to get caught in the spider's web. At that particular time, you fooled. Am I right or wrong? No time to negotiate with the spider. You get caught in the spider's web. So all of a sudden now you're going to pull out the same degree that the spider gave you to negotiate with the spider to get out of it. You're out your damn mind. No time to negotiate at that point. At that particular point, everything, the whole entire system that the spider constructed will look at you as food. All right? To make the next system. All right. The Martin Cable, Monty Baruti said, our mental side is so deep that we trust enemies to do what's best for us. On a basic level, if we don't own the land, which is the basics of economic freedom, we grow no trees to cut them down to make toilet paper, what would you wipe your behind with if they stopped making toilet paper? Scott's Tissue went out of business. Charmin and the rest of them. What you gonna do? I said that one time at lecture, some old lady, like, now you leaves or something. I don't know. But it's it's very real. All right? Accept your past without regret, handle your present with confidence, and face your future without fear. All right? Emil Cabral said, hide nothing from the masses, of our people, tell no lies, expose lies whenever they are told, mask no difficulties, mistakes, failures, and last but not least, claim no easy victories. We don't have a land that we can call our own just yet. Claim no easy victories. All right? You celebrate way before any of us can ever get free. Hold on one second. Something I wanted to say after that. I wanted it in there, but I said no. That's too short. Kalaji said, come on, brother, go and speak for at least 15 minutes. Hold on one second. I wanted to go over a few things that I talk about on the particular on the tour that I'm on, and just kind of reiterate some of the things that we that I know that young people kind of need to see. So Kalaji, do I have 10 more minutes? Is that cool? Yeah. All right, cool. No, I said 10, bro. You know what I said. Trying to act all fly. Yeah, all right. Real quick. Dr. Amos Wilson says, how different would our world, would our education be if we went to school to learn how to educate, to create jobs for ourselves? This is very real dynamic. A lot of times we don't. I had the pleasure of having my wife sit in the audience the other day. What school was it? Wake 10th Community College, hoping I don't curse. And I just said, well, look, he was a simple tongue, but even the intonation of my voice sometimes, when real men decide to speak up and talk about real issues concerning us. You want Baba, you can come on up and have a seat. Have a seat on the couch, relax, man.
Oh, don't give me that kind of invitation. I appreciate that.
I feel, man, you good?
I'm doing fine.
Get that jacket before you leave. Anyway, a Negro, a Beast, or in the Image of God, which is one of the books that they use in the educational system in the basement of the church to educate black children. How to make a Negro Christian. All right, this is a book written during the slavery period in America by Reverend Dr. Charles Colcock Jones. He was a major slave owner that owned 3 plantations. He developed a system to make slaves more submissive and easier to control by converting them to Christianity. Question is, what is that particular element inside of Christianity that they put in place as a mechanism to make us more submissive? All right, so we need to understand that. So young people they say that my generation is not intelligent enough to read a book. I say that they are wrong. It is just that they are not writing about anything of interest that is relevant to our lives. And that's very real. So the saying is, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. All right, you heard the saying before, right or wrong? Right. All right. But even when we go in the book, we don't see ourselves in the book. We don't see ourselves in the political system, religious system, how you feel? Educational system. We don't see ourselves. Especially when it comes to this particular dynamic, and this is the thing that young people need to know. is the fact that they made reading illegal. All right? For hundreds of years, black people, you got caught reading, you probably cut your tongue out or your fingers off or your ear off. All right? And this is a very, very real dynamic. I'm going to hold to my 10, 15 minutes because I have a plane to catch. The idea of the symbols of hate, especially coming from this body of work right here, which is a book almost should be next to the Bible in your home, Without Sanctuary. All right? These are photographs, a book of photographs that white people have taken of lynchings and castrations and burnings of black bodies. All right? And the brother came along and actually put it in a book. So I often talk about the symbols of hate. All right? Which one of those symbols of hate is a nuisance. Now, didn't we go through a period in Bowie where Cypress was saying to us that they was hanging bananas on nooses on the college campus? Was it AU? American University? Lots of colleges. Okay, I guess that wasn't the only one. But that particular dynamic is real. When I set up the exhibit, I let them know that the first couple of tables, which this kind of information is on the tables, listen to me. This is not black history. I know some people beg to differ. This is not black history. This comes out of the white psyche. This comes out of the white mind. You understand what I'm saying? This is not something that black people came up with to advance who and what we are as a people. All right? Actually, this particular period interrupted black history. Right. This is an interruption. All right? This is one of the postcards. The burning of the Negro Smith. Here's his body after they castrated him. And if the picture was clear, you could see some of the white people in the picture dressed well. Suits on, ties. You understand what I'm saying? Setting up vending tables and whatnot. For real, this is a real dynamic. And this went on quite often. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. To get over that particular place, to understand this particular body of work, the body of work that Peruti presenting and what Kalani is going to present. You never curse the bridge that brought you across troubled waters. You hear a lot of people talking about Christianity, even in the form and the shape that it's in now, as though it never did anything for us. All right, we need to be real with one another. The church was that place for sanctuary for us. You understand what I'm saying? Until the birth of Reverend Pickfoot and Reverend Pastor Hamhock, I'm talking about way before them, the church served a purpose. Am I right or wrong? Okay. So never curse the bridge that brought you across troubled waters. These are some of the other things that I have on the table. We talked about the whole idea of the transatlantic slave trade. Then I go through a pictorial slide presentation of some of the things that we are doing. And this needs to be educated. This needs to be a primary education in the home. This needs to be talked about. All right, and understood and put in its proper context. This is one of the books that you need to have on the shelf at home. And if you don't have it, make a mental note of it. Brainwash, challenging the myth of black inferiority. What got us in this condition, the way we think about one another today. All right? It says type A advertising is designed to generate an inner sense of conflict. Pardon me. Type A advertising is designed to generate an inner sense of conflict with the self. The advertising that you see today actually causes you to be in conflict with the self. I'm going to skip over some things because I'm going to get right to the point. So in Tom Burrell's book, he goes through a chronological order of things that he presented to us, starting off with D.W. Griffin's film, The Birth of a Nation, which helped swell the ranks of the Ku Klux Klan at that particular time. But what it did was it criminalized and demonized and niggerized black men in this particular film. Well, this sounds very familiar because that's the same thing that's going on today. All right? Music criminalizes and demonizes black men. The movies on the small screen and the large screen demonizes black men. All right? Which hoodie looks suspicious to you? The one that Trayvon Martin wearing, or the ones that were put together over judges, over politicians, over pastors and reverends and school teachers? All right? Which don't even hide today. Simply because their ears are fine-tuned to Donald Trump's dog whistle being blown every single day, on and off the news. All right? When we run across these particular lessons, this has to be a teachable moment for young people. Because not only did this happen, then what year did this happen? Does anyone know? 1955. And Emmett Till, I believe, was from Chicago. Went down south, as parents often do, send their children down south for the summer. Went down to, believe, Mississippi somewhere. All right? Walked by, they said, walked by a clothesline on some white women and whistled or something. Whatever the lie they came up with. They dragged him out of his bed that night, beat him to death, all right, tied bricks and ropes to him and dumped him in the river. So when they finally found the particular body, because there was a search for the body, they asked the mother, did she want to open or close casket? She says, no, I want to open casket because I want them to see what they've done to my son. Handsome young man. And a lot of us could stick our head in the sand and say, you know something? That was then, this is now. I says, no, because this happened, what, maybe 8 years ago? Right down in Georgia, right here. The gentleman's name was Kendrick Johnson. Look him up in your phones. They said he dropped his sneakers in a rolled up gym mat and went down in the gym mat to get his sneakers and got stuck and suffocated to death. Took the body to the morgue. By the time mom and dad found out and came to the morgue, cut the body back open, the body was stuck with newspaper. Exactly. So this is a real dynamic, and then lo and behold, the woman at the center of the Emmett Till murder case has spoken out for the first time, admitting that her part of the story about the young black teen was absolutely false. She lied the whole time. You can tell the soul of a people by the way it treats its children. How do we treat the children? Let's not look at how everyone else treats the children. How do we treat the children? You see, what's going on at the borders of America. All right? You start to hear the whole idea of immigration being spoke of. But no one speak of how black children are being treated. Because we don't have that conversation. So what I tend to do sometimes when I travel, I don't talk about certain slides. I just put them up, and as I'm talking like this, I'm watching body language and people read what's going on behind me. But it's a beautiful thing. Because we have to use any, every, and all means necessary to reach our people, all right? But it's true. The history, the blacker, the more they dig, the deeper they dig, the blacker it gets.
Let's do it one more time. It's gonna be all. It's okay, black man. I know you're trying. Let's do it one more time.
I'm only gonna take, trust me, Kalaji, I'm only gonna take about 5 more minutes.
It's okay, black man.
Escaping slaves use cornrows to create braided maps in order to let the other quote-unquote slaves know how to get off the plantation. All right? See, we had to do this simply because it was forbidden to speak our mother tongue. Matter of fact, in most cases, it was forbidden to speak on the plantation. You couldn't even have a conversation. Can you imagine 30 years of not talking to one another? All right? So you develop a way to communicate. It's called nonverbal communication. All right? One elder told me after the lecture, he says, listen, I just kind of say a prayer and think what I want to say into the ether when a strong wind comes by so it can take it down river to my kinfolk. All right? So we have to fine tune our frequency to vibrate on a higher plane in order to communicate with one another. All right? But we are very ingenious with putting the roadmap off the plantation and braid it into the head. I don't know what it's leading to. It might end up in a cul-de-sac right here, but I'm just saying. It's a very real idea. We understand that particular concept. 1968 was the first time that not only white America, but black people were introduced to this whole idea of the natural, or the Afro, so to speak. We already had that concept. That wasn't anything new to us. But Johnson & Johnson put it on, Johnson Publishing Company actually put it on the cover of Jet in other magazines. The first time that young black kids was able to look, and not the first time, but one of the times black children were able to look at themselves on the small screen and the big screen after the beautiful depiction of black family on TV once upon a time. That was destroyed. Because the Jeffersons, whether you like it or not, was a family. Am I right or wrong? What other families were on TV at that time?
Evans.
Good time to Evans, right? Who else? They were families. And we saw family, like we saw the black man and the woman dealing with trials and tribulations with their children. All right? But movie studios and movie lots done silence that. And you rarely see that nowadays. And if you do, there's some other kind of stuff going on that Kalanji's going to talk about. All right? But it's one of the rare times we've seen black women getting credit on the big screen without being a prostitute, without being a whore, without being a slave, without being all these other things. Are you following me? In their greatness. All right? And I'm sure you've heard of Henrietta Lacks. I don't need to go over that. Am I right or wrong? But did you know it's Nina Simone, right? But did you know Nina Simone had 3 degrees? And by right, we should have been calling her Dr. Nina Simone. But that's not the Nina Simone that they feed us. They feed us the radical Nina Simone, which is cool, I'm just saying. But we need to know that Nina Simone was a doctor. All right? Niggerhead Mountain. Niggerhead was a very common phrase. Nigger tobacco. All right? Niggerhead Mountain and other places. They had human zoos. So we talk about the Sheroes and the heroes. Who are those individuals that would dare to speak about this and bring it to our people? Without flinching, without worrying about losing a job. All right? Without worrying about getting branded and labeled like they branded and labeled me. All right? The whole idea of human zoos. Can you imagine the mindset that would come up with a zoo and put human beings inside? Real quick, I'm sure you're familiar with alligator bait. And if the little ones are not, what they used to do is just take little babies and tie their legs to a tree. And when they wiggle to get away, it would excite the alligators. And the alligators would come and try to eat the little kids. And then that would alert the slave master, and he would kill the alligator to make belts and shoes and all this other kind of stuff. How many people in the room have ever ate sugar babies or sugar daddies, the candy? Well, this is where they get it from. Because the babies were sweet to the alligators, so they come up with the little brown candies called the sugar babies and the sugar daddies. I'm not talking about your sugar daddy. Don't get it twisted. I'm just talking about the candy right now. We'll talk about the sugar daddy in a minute. Hold on. But they're alligator bait. And these were postcards, not created by us. Remember, this is white history. This is created by the mind of the other people. All right? You saw the movie The Green Book. You couldn't travel in America without a traveler's guide during them days. So they came out with a movie called The Green Book to give you an idea of what was going on in America. In the segregated U.S. in the mid-20th century, African-American travelers could have a hard time finding towns where they were legally allowed to stay the night at hotels and eat at restaurants. You couldn't just stop anywhere. Now you have the Devils, Long John Killers, Kentucky Live Chicken, Pizza Slut, and some of these other places you can stop anytime you want to and go through the drive-thru and get number 3 with extra cheese. Am I right on? Well, you couldn't do this back in the day. All right? Which gave birth to this thing called the sundown towns. How many people know any sundown towns? Can you name one for me real quick?
Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida was a sundown? Oh, Miami, Florida was a sundown town. Who else?
Forsyth, Georgia.
Forsyth, Georgia. Levittown, New York. Where else? There's a few other places. And if you don't know what a sundown town is, if you were black, and I'm sure everyone in here is, all right, if you kind of questioning that, see Rudy at the end, can lay you on the couch and diagnose you. But I'm just saying, if you ever wanted to find out whether or not you were black, try getting caught at a sundown town after the sun go down. It was illegal for you to be outside after the sun go down in the sundown town. Real quick, in the 1950s, the Las Vegas hotel completely drained their pool because black entertainer Dorothy Dandridge stuck her toe in the water. Can you imagine our daily traveling through the country and you can't be caught outside? You can't stay in certain hotels? You can't travel down certain highways? If you go down to, Jonesboro? What's after Jonesboro? Fairburn, Georgia? You can still see some of the whipping posts. Go to the deep south, like Decatur. You can still see whipping posts, laughing barrels, and this kind of thing. They may decorate them and do other things to them, but they're still there. So a whipping post was actually if a black man got out of line or a black woman got out of line, they would tie you to the whipping post and whip you. And the person that would whip you would be called the what? The cracker. All right, so it's not a derogatory term, it's actually his title. All right, and since he belonged to a certain union where they all wore red ties, they try to distort the history, but we understand they was out in the sun all day and their neck turned red. This is why we call them redneck crackers. But they came along now and formed a union which they wore red scarves around their neck, and that gave birth to the term redneck cracker. It's not a derogatory term, it's their title. All right. In the late 1600s, they had what was called as the Casual Killing Act. That stated that if you was, it stated that it was okay to kill a black if you were correcting them. So if you're correcting them in public and they just happen to die, it was all right. It was cool. No one got punished. The Casual Killing Act. How much time do I have? What time is? Can someone give me the time?
3:27.
Pardon me?
3:27.
I got 3 minutes. Laughing barrels. They're still here in Georgia. Just be mindful of them. If you found something funny, you couldn't laugh in the presence of white people. You just had to hold your laugh, run, find a barrel, stick your head in the barrel, and laugh and come up with a straight face. All right? Hence the term barrel of laughs. This is where they get the concept from, the laughing barrel. All right? You can't even laugh. Can you imagine not talking for 50 years, then you can't laugh? All right? Then they're going to ban farting and a few other goddamn things. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, this is real. See, this gives birth to the whole idea of walking while black, thinking while black, sleeping while black, driving while black. All right? It's no different. They just did the remix. That's all, brought it up to date. You still can't do these things in America. This one was funny as hell. This says, I'm going to McDonald's. Okay, cool. Bring me back a Big Mac. I'm going for some cigarettes. All right, bring back some Newports. Okay. I'm going out for a drink. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think I'm going to be vegan. And then you get the whole riot act read to you. You understand what I'm saying? Try doing something positive for yourself that's outside of the realm of the permission that white people gave you. In the family. In the family. Did I say in the family? In the family. Try moving some of that stuff over in the refrigerator and put something healthy in there and see what happens, man. That's an argument from now on. So little ones, this was actually real. You couldn't go to school nowhere without passing the brown paper bag test. All right? So even in your mind, if you thought you was lighter, but you couldn't pass the test, all right, they weren't letting you in. All right? I don't care if it was school or whatever. And this is a very real dynamic. I'm going to pass this, but very real dynamic. And I cringe sometimes when I see parents out with their children that have little white dolls. It's just something about that psyche that I just can't wrap my brain around. Anyway, maybe it's me. Yeah, maybe it's me. There's nothing that proves the failure of black women more than when she continues to buy her child white dolls. What is it reinforcing? Help me out. Let me just skip over some of this. Y'all already know that the football helmet was modeled after the Olmec hands. I don't have to go. That's basic history. We talked about Jack Johnson. We didn't talk about Michael Jackson. Story, you ever do one of these moves? Yeah, I'm just saying, right? Michael Jackson invented the boots that allowed him to do that. Right? But we don't know Michael Jackson as an inventor. We know Michael Jackson as what? No. Not an entertainer. Or what? A child molester. That's the narrative, because they changed the narrative. They changed the O.J. Simpson narrative to put that on all black men. You see, they used this and they changed the narrative. So we don't know Michael Jackson like that. All right? Colin Kaepernick didn't do anything different than John Carlos and Tommy Smith did at the '68 Olympics. But we don't remember that. All right? And all the brother was doing was praying. You understand what I'm saying? John Carlos and Tommy Smith was reacting to what was going on that entire week in Mexico City. You know how many people got shot and murdered? Tanks rolling down the street, chaos. See, we don't know the backstory. I'm trying to find a cool place to end this. There's really no cool place to end it. We have to become the heroes and the Sheroes if we're going to continue the story. Our history and our story needs to be told to us, by us. We can't rely on these people to tell our story. This whole idea of make America great again Yeah, we asked the question, when was America ever great? And then deeper than that, we gotta ask the question, have you looked up the word great in the dictionary? Like, great don't mean good. You follow what I'm saying? So let me find a comfortable place for everyone to end this. Maybe I'll just end it with, not with a reefer. Oh, this was very critical, man. I borrowed from Dr. Joy DeGrooch, Dr. Joy Leary. At the peak of the hatred of black people in America, 600,000 mixed race babies were born. Okay, y'all tell me what was happening. Because we're supposed to be subhuman. We're supposed to be animals. They lynched hundreds of thousands of black people, but at the peak of that, 600,000 mixed race babies were born. And then they turn around and a minute later want to imitate everything black. See, everybody want to be black until it's time to be black. You understand what I'm saying? Until it's time to really be black. Anyway, you know the story of Blackface, the minstrel show. We're just waiting for the scene when we started going into Black History Month, and everybody else is trying to subvert black people and trying to beat us. All right? Then these are the people changing the narrative and changing the story. Even Dark Derek with the dermal synthetic skin, and Dark Derek was robbing banks and robbing people. Unbeknownst to us, Dark Derek was this dude. Found him some dermal synthetic skin, put it on, and went to go rob banks. So they went in the hood, police officers just violently arresting black people, kicking in doors, black boots kicking in doors. The mind that would come up with a ride like this at an amusement park. See, what mind is this kind? This is not black history. You understand? This is white history. This is the interruption of black history. All right? One last point I want to make, then we can go. Stop asking blind people to proofread your vision. All right? So blessed are those that struggle. Oppression is worse than a grave. It's better to live and die for a noble cause than to live and die a slave. Thank you all very much. We're going to take a 10-minute break, because I need to have a conversation with Kalani, and I got to take my computer. I love y'all all right. Professor Griff, I got to get out of here. Thank y'all very much. All right? Make sure you'll support the vendors. They kick it up. So y'all got food back there? Oh, so your wife got to do that when I leave. I'm just saying. I support the victims. Everybody stand up, stretch, relax. Here you go, Delonte.
Get up again for our brother, Professor Griff. That hand clap sound kind of weak. Let's try this again. Get up for my man, Professor Griff. You like what? The coat? Oh, okay, so let me get out the way. They said you like that coat. But anyway, we're going to take a few minutes break. Make sure you support the vendors. We have folks that have traveled. We have a brother here that came down from Roanoke, Virginia. I go. Amen. We have a brother here that came down from Roanoke, Virginia. We have food in the back. I think she has some fish. Bobby Baruti will be up after myself, and a number of other folks. So we finish like 10 minutes and we'll get busy. All right?
All right, peace, Sirius Mindz family. I gotta go. Love y'all all right. I'm on my way to Chicago. All right, peace. Yes. How are you? Oh, thank you.
What's up?
What's up? Come on, what's happening?
What's up?
Yes.